Tonight, the competitors of the Full Send Sims Esports iRacing Spec Miata Championship transition from the most technically demanding circuit on the schedule last week at Homestead to the most mentally demanding circuit, well, maybe anywhere. Since its creation in 1970, Road Atlanta had an immediate reputation as one of the most daunting tracks in the world. Sure, other tracks have similar severe elevation rise and fall, or near constant change of direction, or blind climbing or dropping corner approaches, but none combine the breathtaking speed and massive consequence of Road Atlanta into that mix. It is a track that drivers both cherish and fear, whose mention brings both a broad smile and a sharp intake of breath. The track is still one of the greatest challenges in motorsport, and home since 1998 to one of the most difficult endurance races to master, the fabulous Petit Le Mans. Hi all, I'm Greg Kramer, and along with Kyle Heyer, welcome to round 9 of 10 for 2024's Season 1 in the breathtaking Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. And Kyle, I'm probably a bit too experienced for some of the younger lingo, but to me, one word does describe this track well. It's sick.
That's a great way to describe it. You know, the fascinating thing about Road Atlanta, I love this place. I've only been here one time, but it immediately struck me. One of my favorite aspects about this racetrack doesn't even exist anymore, and that was the name for the corner that got replaced with the Turn 10AB chicane now. That corner used to be called Gravity Cavity because you'd head wildly downhill, get into this big compression, come up the other side into what is now Turn 11. I love that name. Somebody's got to name something else that because it's too good to let go to the sands of time, but this place is so fast, Greg. One of the fastest in North America. It's got one of the longest straightaways in North American road racing, maybe outside of Road America and Brainerd, but that run from Turn 7 to Turn 10A is absolutely critical. It's so fun to watch.
It is, and this whole place, as I said, changes direction constantly. So, being up on top of your game, your track awareness, being able to read traffic in front of you, all of that is hugely critical. I mean, from the bottom of the hill at 12 into Turn 1, that's a straight, but it's very short. Out of 5 up into 6, that really isn't straight because you're going from the right side of the track over to the left. 6 is banked, and then here you see now the elevation, and it's absolutely nuts. And when you're talking about the gravity cavity, there where Turn 10 is, the tunnel, if you've been there, that now goes underneath the track there, that was the bottom of the gravity cavity. It was exactly that. This place is mega. It's fast and so much elevation change and so much of it blind, Kyle. This is one of my favorite tracks ever, and it is, mentally absolutely bruising because of the speed.
Well, and just like so many of the other tracks on the calendar that we've had in this Full Send Sim Spec Miata series, Greg, this is a drafting track for an MX-5. There was a lot of drama getting into the race tonight, and we'll cover that a little bit more throughout qualifying. But it is now about time to get on track and put some times on the board. And it's busy out there because everyone wants that slipstream to send them down the long straightaways here to go as fast as possible. You got to stay tucked in the draft, in qualifying, in the race. I think our battles are going to come all the way down to Turn 12. We've had 2 and 3 wide finishes here in this series at this track in the past, and I don't expect anything different tonight.
Yeah, I don't either. And, one of the things here that has been borne out this entire season, and it's going to be even more so here, especially when you think of our last couple of races. Our chief steward, Andrew Benat, had, some comments about, look, there's been way too much aggression in these first turns. I was announcing back when James Weaver was on pole and J.J. Leto in one of the BMWs was alongside for the Petit Le Mans, and they both wrecked out of it in the first turn. You've got to give your competitors a little room here and let it settle because it's a long race there. And even in these 20-minute sprints, there's going to be so much compactness going into those first few corners. And this place isn't particularly wide, so you've really got to be paying attention here. And hopefully everybody's going to be paying attention to that. But here's an interesting little stat as we're into qualifying. Camden Hibbett up on top right now by a 10th. When practice ended, Kyle, I took a quick look. The top 4 cars were covered by 83 milliseconds.
It's amazing how close it is here. I mean, this is a big place as far as its speeds, but it's not that long in terms of distance. It's about 2.5 miles, which is a mile shorter than Watkins Glen, and almost half the length of Road America, but the speeds it has are equivalent to both of those places. So you just feel like you're doing a million miles an hour around here In an MX-5, maybe that back straightaway feels like it takes some time, but you're hustling down the S's here, Greg, really from turn 3 down to turn 5. You can get behind in the steering, find yourself off in the dirt and dust, but it's a short racetrack, so what that means is those very close together times. Combine that with the excellent competition we've seen this season, and it's going to be tight.
Well, exactly. And this section of track that we were just looking at, when you come over turn 3 and then up at the top, that's turn 3, then you bend into 4 and you start to head down. That next turn, the big long one off to the right of the screen, if you don't get turned in just right, you're never going to get that car to the apex because it just falls away suddenly. And that can either send you straight off into that big barrier down at the bottom, or you've got to gently get out of it so much you're just crawling up into turn 5 and you are dead meat all the way down to turn 6. So, along with just the precision and the speed, and the consequence here, just always being absolutely spot on with your car placement. And when you're, side by side with somebody, and that game of chicken comes out, it's a whole different ball game here at this place.
So just shy of 30 entrants here tonight for this ninth round of 10 in the season, and there were a little bit of rush getting in here tonight because today is one of iRacing's quarterly build updates. This is week 13, or the start of it, where every 13 weeks iRacing will add a ton of content, make some big changes to the simulator, and continue to evolve the sim, as it's a subscription-based service, so it better keep getting better, and boy, it does it ever. Today, finally, iRacing launches its Tempest weather system, which includes rain and wet weather driving for a handful of cars at all of the paved road courses as an option. Now, this car not yet compatible, doesn't have a valid wet weather tire just yet, but I'm sure that almost everybody, as soon as these races are over tonight, are going to go play with the new toys because they certainly want to give that a try. It's been said that it's been fantastic. The one challenge was it kind of broke the game this afternoon with all the changes that were made. So everyone kind of rushed in here, but we're here, Greg, and ready to go racing.
Yeah, and you sent me a link of a YouTube video that Daniel Murad did from a professional driver's perspective on did they get it right in terms of the rain. He was glowing about how absolutely seemingly accurate it was. And, we know that this rain update, you've told me about it for a while now, it's there, it's delayed, it's been delayed. But they delayed it so that they could get it right. And from everything that we're hearing and from what Daniel Murad said, driving what he did about 10 laps at Sebring in the wet in the GT3 car, and he said it's spot on. So that's going to be incredibly exciting when that time comes.
Yeah, I'm very excited to give that a go. It just brings a new level of dimensionality to races. You can't just infinitely plan your fuel stints for an endurance race anymore. You have to adapt and change the conditions. I think that's amazing. Mazzano, new track to the service today. Looks like we got Portimao as well. A handful of oval side editions, Super Formula Lights car, as well as the SRX machine. So lots of new exciting content here in iRacing. And if there was any doubt of what simulators got its hand on things right now, iRacing certainly has been pushing out some amazing updates. Another thing that I kind of overlooked, Greg, talking to you earlier, Sebring got those fancy schmancy new 3D curbs. So those ripple curbs, I tried them this morning. They will bite you, those ripples in the S's especially.
And he talked about that too. Yeah, it was crazy here. Looking at Morgan Burkhardt, yet another new graphic package on the car. Last week he was kind of running a Hundaza.
Yeah, that might be on my end, Greg. I'll have to double check that. Could be an issue on my side. I haven't really noticed a lot of liveries working, so we'll update that before we go racing. But yeah, otherwise.
Yeah.
See.
And Camden Hibbett, who's coming off his best weekend, I think with a second and a win last week, led most of that practice session and then got pipped right at the end, but he's on top right now by about a quarter of a second. So pretty good margin right now over Burkhardt, then Bryce Puto, then Olivier Piatek, who really needs a good front having these issues in qualifying, and then either gets these phenomenal starts or gets clocked and taken out. Gianni Morrow doing a really nice job. We were watching him here a little bit. Nice to have Zach Ehrlich back and Aaron Jensone with us, who haven't raced with us for a little while here. And Kyle, while we're watching this, just want to talk about, we were talking about how close the margins were in the practice session, almost equally close in the points. We have 4 races to go, 2 rounds, 4 races to go. A win in each is worth 20 points. The top 4 right now are covered by 28 points. That's as close as this has ever been. And right now, the top 7 are still well and truly alive in this championship battle here. So this has been an extraordinary season, and it's going to be fun to see how it plays out over these last 4 races.
Oh, absolutely, and that just means that these last 2 events and 4 races are even more consequential than they were previously. So
yes,
everyone's going to be on their toes tonight, and this is a place where things can go wrong so quickly. I mean, there are places where you can escape without much damage, but there's a couple key places that we already highlighted some earlier. Turn 5 is one of them. Really, the S's in general can get you in trouble, but also turn 10A and 10B. Maybe not contact with the wall, but with each other, Greg. Last time we were here, we had lots of drama, including teammate drama down here, running into each other. So this is a really challenging racetrack with the difference in speeds from VMAX to VMin and how much load you're putting on the tires and how badly things can go wrong in the blink of an eye. You have to keep the car on the road tonight.
Well, and this track, especially when it had the gravity cavity, was notoriously difficult to pass on, right? If you had relatively equal cars, because there weren't really a lot of slow corners other than turn 7, but the entry into turn 7, it's such a short shoot from 6 to 7, and if you try and make a pass into 7, you're likely going to be slow all the way down that backstretch, and it was even quicker with the gravity cavity, and so it was just a difficult place to pass. Now they've put in that 10A, 10B complex, which is great, and it creates a great overtaking zone, but it's still really now the only really good overtaking zone. And so that just, everybody thinks about, well, I got to make the pass there. And as a result, we have contact there left and right all the time. So, it's got its pluses. It's a much better overtaking area than it used to be. But it still certainly has its moments here as time heads out. And Camden Hibbett backs up the weekend he had last week with a pole.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun battle to watch. He and Morgan Burkhardt, I don't know what it is, but as soon as Camden jumped on over to that PRG team, obviously we documented probably to his frustration a number of times that he got beaten by his teammate, but he broke through last week, but his performance has just very clearly and objectively gotten better since joining PRG. So, he was running 3rd through 7th, not bad by any means, but as soon as he joins PRG, bam, first, just right up there all the time. And he is a threat to win this race and the one after it tonight.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Now, we do need to say that the points leader, Nicholas Rice-Puto, is up by 23 over Camden, and then it's only 4 points separating or 5 points separating Camden back to Morgan Burkhardt, and that's your 23rd, 23 points back to 28. So Nicholas Rice-Puto has a little cushion, but who knows what's going to happen here with this championship. Super close. And here is the most, well, we jumped away from it, but turn 7, for all of the iconic and awesome corners here, the relatively boring looking turn 7 is without doubt, Kyle, the most important corner here.
It might be one of the most important corners in North American road racing. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
You liken this place up to the Moss Corner at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, where that corner just sets up your entire run up the straightaway. Maybe turn 3 at Road America is a similar one that's kind of underlooked, I think. But 7 is so critical to get right, because you carry speed from here to what feels like 5 miles down to turn 10A.
Yeah, and I think what exaggerates that a little bit is, you talked about Moss at CTMP, absolutely, but turn 8's not a great overtaking area, right? Because it's such a fast entry corner. Turn 3 is more apropos to this because turn 5 is a great overtaking area, but you've got 8, you've got 12, you've got, all these other corners at Road America. Here you've got one really good overtaking area, and if you're bad out of 7, you're either going to be overtaken into 10A, or you're never going to be able to get that pass made going into 10A because you're slow out of 7. So it's just so critical here. I think you may have hit the nail on the head. This turn 7 could be the most important corner in North American motorsports.
Well, I have got some updates for you, Greg, and depending on your outlook, this could be a great thing or not a great thing. There are a handful of drivers that are still experiencing some issues with loading in and their screens in particular because of the Week 13 update. So the decision has been made by the stewards that this race and the one after it will go on, but they will not count for points, and we will rerun this event next week, 4 points at Road Atlanta. So we're going to redo this one next week, but tonight, non-points race, Greg. So that is going to make things really interesting at the front because, well, there's nothing on the line anymore.
Well, yeah, I think you're being very, very conservative in saying really interesting here. No points, no big picture need to drive here. This is just going to be a free-for-all, and what the heck, it's going to be great fun. We said it was going to be sick. Well, now it's going to be, downright, pneumatic.
Yes.
Almost here. So, but it's going to be great fun nonetheless.
Well, let's have a quick look at the first couple rows of our starting lineup. It's Camden Hibbett, Morgan Burkhardt on the front row, followed by Nicholas Rice-Budo and Olivier Piatek in third and fourth. Jordan Rick-Segrini and Nathan Nicholson, Greg, they wrap up your front three rows.
Yep, and then it's Yanni Morrow with a great qualifying effort. Josh Soto starting 8th, starting 9th is going to be Skip Brock Jr.
Lost my focus for a sec.
And James Newell in the 123. And starting in the 11th spot, Jordan Butler and Zach Ehrlich coming back, starts in the top 12.
And 13th place is Aaron Johnson in the number 124. Michael Lauren, we're going to roll off 14th, the number 133. Andrew Gilliland and Luke Law wrap up row number 8.
And in row number 9, it's going to be Jim Friedhofer, and he'll be joined by Deacon Greenfield. And then we go to the 19th starting spot, and that is going to be Tristan Cadet and Court Schmidt will start in the 20th spot, Kyle.
Richard Sawicki start 21st in the 528. Rich Green in 22nd in the number 22. Then Greg Ginsburg and Wayne Buttermore wrap up the first of the 12 rows. There's the rest of the order scrolling across the bottom of the screen because, as we said, short pace lap, short race lap here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Time to go racing here, Greg. And while this won't count for points, it is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
It's going to be a blast to watch, and looking for Camden Hibbett to see if he can protect that inside. Early green flag, as we often get here, because this straight is so short. And let's see what happens. You can see Hibbett protecting big time down to the inside over Rice-Budo, but Morgan Burkhardt getting a little bit of help from a little push there, I think, by the 62 of Piatek, and they scoot around and up into the lead. Now there's that little flick into 2, and somebody's off.
That's Rick Segrini.
Oh my goodness, what a mid-season moving on for Rick Segrini after such an incredible start, Kyle.
Yeah, the trading paints isn't working so well in the background either, so everyone's going to look a little different tonight as well. That's just week 13 things here at iRacing. Burkhardt leads over Piatek, Camden Hibbett, Nicholson, and Rice-Budo. The rest of the top 5. Rich Green is off in the background as well, but Caleb Patry is also out, but this is the benefit of not having this be a points race. Imagine had this been a points race, game over for Rick Segrini.
Yeah, absolutely. So he gets that little bit of a break here at this stage. Look at this. Jose De Las Casas trying to go around the outside of the number of, is that the 144 kid? No, the 181 of Ehrlich here, and got it done. Pretty move. And if you do an outside pass in 7 and you don't get pushed off, it doesn't hurt you too bad because you may have missed the apex, but you don't get squeezed on the exit as much, and you can make that stick. It looks like he's done it.
Here comes the 72, Jordan Butler out to the inside, and the 124 is going to follow down the big lunge from the 124. Wow, that was Johnson, and he made it stick somehow, Greg, into 10A.
That was incredible. I swear he came from downtown Atlanta to make that one.
Jordan
Butler ends up bouncing a little wide there, and that's going to cost him just a little bit, and has to tuck in through this absolutely incredible turn 12. And I'll tell you, I have driven this track with back in the days of the dip in a relatively quick car, and the dip was terrifying. But you come down through 12, and Kyle, that wall out on the left, you swear to God it's calling you.
Yeah, I've gotten to ride around here with none other than Luke McGrew in a Dodge Challenger, and boy, that is an exciting ride.
It is. This place is something special.
My only other experience on a racetrack at that point was at Gingerman Raceway in a Honda Civic, so it was quite the baptism around here as cars bouncing over the curbs here, leaving turn 5. Up front, Camden Hibbett, Rice-Budo, Burkhardt, your top 3. Piatek's down to 4th, and they're having a bit of a scrap for about 6th spot. Nathan Nicholson's in that green car, followed by Gianni Morrow and James Newell in the 123 Barbie machine.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Camden Hibbett, he kind of got swamped on the start, dropped back to 3rd, and he's wasted no time going back to the front here. And we've got this 4-car breakaway now with Piatek sitting in that 4th spot, then that little bit of a gap back to Skip Brock, then Nicholson, then Morrow, then Newell, as you talked about.
Yeah, so 4-car breakaway, and here comes Burkhardt with a nice big run. Hibbett's probably going to stay driver's right here. And Burkhardt's all by himself now in the braking zone, but he's going to use that opportunity to drive in really deep on Camden Hibbett. Now he's on driver's left here, heading through turn 10B, which sometimes can work out. But look at Rice-Puto 3 wide.
3 wide under the bridge, heading down into 12. And Rice-Puto's there. Look at Burkhardt. He's going to try and round him up around the outside here. And that was a nice move by Rice-Puto there to drift over just a little bit. But it's not done yet. Down to the inside now. Comes the 62 of Piatek. And again, Rice-Puto trying to stay parked around the outside. He floats pretty wide. They are going to be side by each through 2 and up into 3.
Still side by side into turn 3. You can't do that very successfully very often. Here comes Burkhardt now. Big shot to the rear bumper of the 0-3. And Piatek will have to filter back in. He might lose 4th here as Hibbett's coming and Skip Brock Jr. is as well.
Well, I tell you what, that was a ballsy move right there by Camden Hibbett, because that's the turn I was talking about. If you don't get it to the apex, it falls away rather dramatically. And you can see he just barely was able to catch the outside edge of that curb. And kept it right in it here. Oh, my goodness.
See that? That was wild. 4 wide into turn 6. Gosh.
That's not something you see every day.
No, it's not. I've seen probably 6 wide is the most I've ever seen in iRacing, and I can tell you how it went. It was not very good.
Yeah, and turn 6, yeah, it's got some banking, guys, but 4 wide, that's crazy here. But look at this battle up front, and if these guys keep scrapping like they are, and what I'm loving about this is, you can kind of just throw the strategy out the window, and I'll bet you these guys right now are going, I'm going for the front every time I can. Look at this, 3 abreast, briefly down into 10A. Hibbett decides to tuck back in behind Burkhardt, but Rice-Puto has position, grabs that second spot and hangs on to it here. This is awesome, but look at that, 2 abreast behind them, Nicholson and Brock through 10B.
This is what you get when no one's racing for points, right? The risk assessment goes way out the window. It's game on all the time. And the next 14 minutes will be very entertaining because no one's holding back. What's the point? If you crash, you just reset and then you carry on to the next race. But for the lead again, Rice-Puto, Burkhardt still door to door. Hibbett right behind him. He's going to try to carve up the inside here through turn 2. And then Piatek clinging to the tailpipes of those front 3.
Ooh, look at Burkhardt all crossed up. That's going to be a cut course. He's going to save it, but he's going to lose, I would think, here and have to give those spots up.
Yeah, and where do you do it? Right in the middle of the corner to try to hold up everybody behind you. And he'll drop right back into line here, but he might have to give up more time still, and here comes more. Here's Nicholson and Skip Brock Jr.
Yeah, all of that, everybody checked up a little bit, not sure what was going to happen, and there's the big slowdown for Morgan. Oh, that hurts, and all those cars were so close. He's probably lost over 10 spots. Now he's lost actually 9 at this point here, trying to figure out, okay, where am I at this stage? That was painful.
That one's way off the road out there. That's the blue car. I think that is Soto in the 77, and Burkhardt's right back to 3 wide, sandwiching Gianni Morrow. But those slowdowns, man, they take away so much more than you gain.
Oh,
but
for sure.
It really can burn you if you're not. It actually helps to serve them quicker than it does to kind of slowly bleed them off. But depending on the racetrack and the corner, you can kind of get away with serving it very minimally. Down into 10A, though, still side by side for the lead, and Piatek's got it now for a nose.
Yeah, he just was able to get that nose enough clear of Hibbett that Hibbett really had to just sort of give way. But I'll tell you, Nathan Nicholson is having another one of his absolutely amazing drives here. I was looking at some of the stats, and per start, this guy, 108 rating, average start of 5.8, average finish of 3.5. All he does is go forward.
Well, he has done just that tonight, 6th up to 3rd, and he's looking for the lead now with Hibbett and Piatek right off the bonnet here. Into turn 3 again. This is where Burkhardt got shuffled off last time, and Camden Hibbett has to take to the rumbles to stay on the road.
And Hibbett, this is what he did the last time with this wide line through here, was able to make it work, and again, just is able to grab enough curb, and it should give him position. But look at this move now, as Rice-Puto, or excuse me, the 62 of Piatek just chucked it in, and a big off by Burkhardt in the back.
Yeah, he's in the wall in a big way. We'll check in on that in a little while, but it's getting frantic up here for the front. Man, you'd take points away, and you'd think you just lit the fuse of the afterburners here. This is wild stuff.
Fantastic, and look at Skip Brock trying the outside. Initially on Nicholson, got trapped a little bit, and there comes Newell in the Barbie car and almost steals the spot away there. This is incredible.
Got a long enough straightaway to watch a replay here. Burkhardt, it just gets all crossed up there, and the 18 tomorrow gets into him, and that's a big hit too.
Boy, look at Rice Puto. He's just been swallowed up as a result too. He is dropped outside right now. If I'm reading this right, outside of the top 10.
Yeah, 12th. Love that we had a chance to look at a replay, and they're still on the same straightaway as when we started.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Morrow getting split 3 wide. That's not going to work. Gets straightened back out and kind of tank slapped back the right direction by Lauren in the 133 and the 172 at Court Schmidt.
Yeah, Court sitting 13th right now, so having a nice run as we come down through 12 once again. And, you know, this short track with this great speed, and the way everybody is racing, including at the front, we're just keeping these big packs at this stage, and really enjoying watching Aaron Jensone here.
It's going to get squeezed here by the 77 of Soto. Jump the curb there, watch track out. They've been, I mean, turn 3 is usually one of those concession corners where you kind of give it to somebody, but let's try side by side. Why not? And the whole S is side by side.
What can it hurt, right? Yeah. Unbelievably cool stuff. And I'll tell you what, you know, talking about this track, and I've raced this more than any other track back when I was doing a lot of driving, and of all the iconic corners here, my favorite one was 3. Absolutely blind entry, and you just pound that curb and then use the slide of the car when the rears would hit the curb and let the exit curb straighten you out. You'd flick the wheel straight and try and wrap around that downhill curb. Just a great, great corner.
Yeah, my favorite corners have a direct correlation to how high in the air you can get on the curbing. So I concur with that statement. That is a direct relationship.
Does launch you.
Yeah. You get up on Watkins Glen bus stop, same thing.
Yeah,
jump those curbs.
Exactly.
Kyle's favorite corner.
Yeah, and look at the margin. Yeah, and I'll tell you, look at this little breakaway going here. It's over a second that him and Piatek have, and of course Nicholson, Brock, Newell having themselves one hell of a war bike there. Look at that grin. Yeah, he is going, all right, this is fun. Way out, gonna arc across. And tucks back in. And guess who's having a really stout run here? Andrew Gilliland up into 6th.
I was gonna say that. He's come up a long ways too. 15th up to 6th. And I don't really see a scratch on that car. Maybe the left front's got a little ding in it, but for the most part, he's had a nice clean race and has definitely a weapon to contend with. Got Jensone, Ehrlich, and Soto behind him, though, so that pressure is building. And they are beginning to lose a bit of ground to James Newell and Skip Brock Jr. How about James Newell? That's a name that we haven't really seen up in the top 5 yet.
He's doing a brilliant job here right now. Just really, really quick at this stage. Hustling it beautifully here.
Oh, smoke off to the left there, leaving 5, but I don't think it was anybody up at the front. I think it was Greg Ginsburg. That was a dive, but
yeah, not quite.
We'll give Greg a little. Oh well, here we go. Usually he's got the Oreo car, but without the paint loading tonight.
Oh, and
oof.
Yeah, that never ends well.
No, the sound of that wasn't very fun either. For the lead.
Yeah, look at this, side by side, and again, I think for Jensone, I think it's the Barbie livery. It's just propelling him forward. Oh, but he had a big slowdown apparently.
Now that was the Barbie livery is, I think is it Lauren? No, it's another car a little bit deeper in the field, I think.
Oh.
That's James Newell in the 123.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Ooh, getting busy down here.
Yes, it is.
There's Richard Sawicki climbing through the field here. Oh, there goes Lauren down to pit lane. Oh, gosh, this is wild. I mean,
that is crazy.
It's almost as wild as real Spec Miata.
Butler. Yeah, the 72 of Butler turned in, and I think that was a little bit of code contact. Oh, it's Court Schmidt. It's a little bit of code contact, and somehow at the bottom of 12, he saved it.
Oh, spin up the road, and it's the 77 of Soto right in the middle of the racetrack. Is going to get clobbered. Oh, that was the 18 of Morrow.
Oh, my goodness. That may be a new elevation.
Yeah.
A straight on hit.
Contact from Jensone that sent him for a ride, and then it just slid backwards. He had the brakes applied, but, man.
Yeah.
Big hit.
Absolutely no. Unsighted. That's the downside of these tracks that have all of these blind approaches and blind apexes at the top of hills. It's just, so many times you come into stuff and you're just totally unsighted here. And Nathan Nicholson is just tracking these two guys down, trying to make it a three-way scrap. And so we have about 6.5 minutes to go, Kyle. One of the reasons we're racing tonight here at Road Atlanta, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, is the big Hoosier Super Tour event is here this coming weekend at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. As we're trying to mirror the schedule, obviously, if we're going to repeat here, that pushes VIR back. Does that get something out of rhythm with VIR? Ooh, look at that little exchange.
Here comes Nicholson with a big shot to the rear tailpipes of Hibbett. And Andrew Gilliland's about 6 seconds back in fourth. So if these three collide, that could be interesting.
And I'd say the odds here in this race are probably better than they are at most others for that happening.
I would say that is the case already. A couple of our major front runners in the points already out. And thankfully, nothing lost tonight with the declaration that this would just be a for-fun points race. But 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go. It's going to be 3 laps to go next time by, maybe 2.
Nicholson just tracking these two right now.
Gives you an idea.
He really clouded that curb, didn't he?
We're just over the treetops, and you can see how far down we're looking at cars. That's how far the S's run downhill. It's almost like Watkins Glen's, but in reverse.
Yeah. It's, that steep, and of course, everything downhill, you have no camber to help you, so they are brutally tricky. Woo! Big step out there by Hibbett as he dropped that left at turn in 4-7, and that's going to null that little bit of momentum. And now he's got to be hoping that Nathan Nicholson decides to go with him when he catches these two. It looks like he's gonna.
And there's a second group led by Andrew Gilliland. You see at the top of the shot there. And they are all line astern and working together. So I don't think we're done quite yet. Here comes Nicholson, 3 wide.
And 3 wide. And this can park everybody in a big hurry, and Nicholson certainly has position. And I think everybody there just said, yeah, if we try and race through here, that group behind us is going to start making up big time. But a nice line there by Miata, carried a lot of momentum through that corner. He's going to get trapped on the outside here. Or does he turn down on? Look at this. Side by side through 12. That is spectacular stuff.
All the while, Gilliland made up some more ground on these guys. 5 seconds back now. 3 laps to go with 4 minutes on the clock. And Skip Rock Jr. just passed Gilliland, so they're trading spots back there. But the front 3, this dynamic trio, they're getting after it.
Yeah, just that quick. Hibbett goes from the lead to third just in that one exchange. But that's what that run from 7 to 10 does. And, that was clearly experimentation and learning there. All right, if that's where we are in the last lap, how's that going to work? You saw Nicholson, the back end, really skip. And that's going to rob him of some momentum coming up and over that rise. I thought Hibbett might have enough to take a peek to the inside.
So that's all happening. They've reshuffled the deck back here a bit. Skip Rock Jr., Gilliland, Rice, Budo, and Ehrlich.
It's a great comeback by Rice Budo from where he was. Oh, and he misses his turn in badly there.
Yeah, that tells the story. Started third, ran as low as 15th, and has been as high as first. We've only been in this race for 17 minutes.
How you can make that many different position drops and advances in that short a time. But that's the draft here in Spec Miata, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. And here comes, I thought Hibbett was going to go for it here. But there should be 2 to go this time by. And this second pack has started to race amongst each other, and it's cost them some time.
Yep. You can see Gilliland way to the inside there, and that really tightened up his entry into the corner, and look at that. It just allowed Ehrlich to get right. Oh, and Gilliland's pitting.
Yeah.
What a shame. This young man had such a fabulous drive going.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's for a penalty or what. Maybe there's damage on the car as well that we can't see, but he is pulling down.
All right, here we go. And I was, last lap when we saw Hibbett down into 10A, take that little peek and then duck back in. I wonder if he's plotting here and, thinking, Nathan Nicholson was able to darn near go from third to first. Is that where you want to be? Or does he want to be splitting these two guys? It's going to be fascinating to bumping over that curb.
I almost want to be third. I've I can't even tell you how many races at this track in iRacing, Greg. And every time I think about how I want to set this last lap up, there's a new set of circumstances that makes me think different.
Yeah, a new wrinkle.
But for the longest time, I felt like it's not a good idea to defend into 10A because it sets you up so poorly for 10B. And I think 10B is the more important corner. So typically, I'll see drivers fight over the right side of the racetrack into 10A and not be on defense. Well, I'm curious to see what Piatek does here next time by, because I think more often than not, it's like 70-30, the winner stays on the right.
And he moves to the left, and here comes Nicholson, just dive bombs on the brakes.
Watch
Gets
Hibbett.
through, but look at, Hibbett squared up beautifully, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was off to the right entering 10A and knew that he could square up 10B and have a run at him here. Didn't work this time because he wasn't close enough, but that's the kind of move I've seen win races here, regardless of if you're second or third. Last lap.
Yeah, and as the white flag, as you said, comes out here, and it's just you come in and you can get pinched down there badly as well. So positioning is everything. Up through turn one, man, you just chuck it in there, it falls away from you, and then it starts to climb. So that entry to the corner, you've got to be comfortable with that car feeling really slide loose, not just the back or the front, but the whole car just sliding, and have faith that you're going to catch that uphill, get grip, and then just charge up into turn number 3, and almost the same thing here up into 5. You're coming down through the bottom of the S's, then you get the compression and the climb up through 5. And Nicholson's dropped off just a little bit here.
He has. I wonder if this is by design.
Give himself some room to really get a run.
Yeah, and maybe let these two scrap amongst themselves. If they're all concerned about what each other is doing in 10A, 10B, it might leave the door open for Nicholson. He's about the right distance back to carry a run up to them as well, so this will be fun to watch. But 2 corners left in this race.
Well, he did get that big lunge up 3 wide, that deep lunge in. Let's see what happens here. He's not gaining on him here as quick as I thought he might. Here we go. So this is what turn 9. Now Hibbett, he's swinging out. He's trying to set it up here.
Watch Nicholson, though.
Turns in. Yeah, boy, I see exactly what you're talking about. He's going to have to do it the long way, though. Hibbett right down the center of the track on the exit. Little touch there. Piatek looking strong, Kyle.
And gave him a hip check, too. Piatek's going to hang on and wins. Nicholson and Hibbett, a drag race, a dead heat to the stripe, and give it to Nicholson by 6/1000ths of a second. Brock and Ehrlich to the stripe, nose to nose. That's 50,000ths of a second. How about that for P2?
Wow, unbelievably close. And Nicholson darn near. He had the idea right, but Piatek just drove that brilliantly, didn't he?
How about that?
Look at that. Wow.
I mean, that is exceptional. 6/1000ths of a second. If that was a NASCAR finish, it'd be like the 3rd closest in history, just FYI.
Absolutely. Spectacular stuff they put on up front. Skip Brock coming home in 4th. Zach Ehrlich a great 5th. And look at who ended up in 6th. With those late issues, Richard Sawicki jumping into 6th, Court Schmidt to 7th, Cadet 8th, Butler 9th, and Friedhofer 10th. And for Olivier Piatek, that's his 2nd win of the season. That first one came much earlier in the year. He's been waiting for that.
Yeah, I'm sure he has been. I think his only frustration would be that this isn't for points. So while it's nice to win and it's good for the mind, it's not going to benefit you for the championship. Nathan Nicholson did a great job. Camden Hibbett down in 3rd place. He got kind of boxed in. I would rather be on the right. He was, but he didn't have the full width of the track to do the maneuver. Nicholson did, but then kind of got boxed out by Hibbett. So, again, I've seen 5 million finishes here at Road Atlanta. Not 2 are ever alike.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, with again, all that change in direction, how do you set up? If you protect a little bit, you might not be as quick out. Somebody can take advantage. It's really tough to read. Sometimes it just comes down to the will of the gods, right? And that's all part of it here. It's a good opportunity for us to talk a little bit about our sponsors. Full Send Sims, Court Schmidt, envisioning this whole series. Thank you to him for that, but also, for the incredible work they do. Taking his military sim training and building, combining it with his real-world racing experience and creating these spectacular sims. And in fact, I wanted to talk about one here that we were chatting about a little while ago. Full Send just completed, Court said it is the most expensive and most custom sim they have ever built. It is a full-on replica 1-to-1 rig for a competitor in the Global MX5 Cup. And that means it was custom designed to fully match the customer's real car. And not just in the layout, so everything looks similar. He said, but down to the critical minutia, like pedal pressure for the brake, the brake and clutch, and the pull feel even of the sequential shifter. And it's all designed to make the muscle memory match identically from sim to race car. That's the level of stuff that Full Send Sims can do, and there is no doubting how great they are at it, and then again, to be able to support our series and everything is special. But we also have to say a huge thanks to two of the presenting sponsors that have been with us since the very beginning. 3P Logistics, logistical support for you, your family, and your race car. They'll take care of everything: booking flights, rental cars, hotels, group gatherings, all while you're away from home. And Final Turn Motorsports, full-service prep shop, trackside support, dyno tuning, a Miata tranny builder. They do it all as well. And, of course, we also have more recently welcomed Wine Country Motorsports into the sponsorship as well. And they are the racer's resource for all things racing, safety related in particular. Great group of sponsors, Kyle. We couldn't be doing this without them, and we are so, so lucky.
Yeah, certainly couldn't do it without them, and they've been a big part of making this possible. Been fun to watch, and we're nearing the end of another season, Greg, and I've actually lost count of how many we're in now. It feels like we're in 4
Yep.
at this stage.
Yep.
Okay, good guess.
Exactly. Yeah,
so,
it was good.
But we've been trudging along with this concept, and every single season it's gotten more and more competitive, more drivers in the fray. You pointed out how many drivers within 28 points. 7 of them? It's
4 within 28,
yeah.
7 within a shot of the championship.
That's amazing. With only
It is.
effectively a round and a half left to go. I know there's now a non-points race, but every season it gets more and more competitive, and they keep making tweaks to the setup that's just supposed to replicate Spec Miata with an NC chassis. Every change they make gets it more and more entertaining. So hats off to the team behind the scenes, and there's a lot of them, Greg, that make this all happen.
Oh, they are. And Andrew Banah, who is the chief steward, and the group that works with him are just do an incredible job policing everything. And then, of course, we've got some amazing instructors. If you're going to do one of the schools or one of the one-on-one sessions, they're, the champions. I mean, Morgan Burkhardt, Beans Forster, just an incredible group. And I just want to remind everybody that if you finish top 3 in the points, and it doesn't matter if you're part of the Full Send Sims instruction corps, officials corps, stewarding, if you're racing in it and you finish top 3, you get your trophy. But if you also finish top 3, unless you're a part of Full Send Sims in terms of the officials or instructors, and also if you've won one of the hardware prizes in the same calendar year, then you are not eligible. But if you're the highest placing person eligible this year for this season, you're going to get a Samsung 49-inch ultra-wide monitor. That's pretty darn cool. If you're second, you get a Butt Kicker Gamer Plus. If you're third, you get a Logitech G Pro X gaming headset. So just incredible stuff here. And do want to remind everybody, and I don't know whether this is going to shift now. We'll have to clarify it because next Thursday there was going to be a school at Virginia International Raceway, but with things getting shifted potentially now, that might get moved back another week. We always try and do them the Thursday before we actually go and race there. So we'll see how that plays out. But just all I have to do is go to fullsendsims.com, or I'm sure give Cord a shout on Discord or whatever, and you'll get the answer.
Yeah, that'll be very, very exciting, I'm sure. I wanted to show you something, Greg, that I can't tell if I love it or hate it. I'm going to pull it up on screen here in a moment.
Okay.
And one of the new things that was released today with the new build was the SRX car, which, of course, is kind of a mixed-use oval car. The series has been canceled at least for this year because of funding issues, but the car is very unique and interesting. That car launched today. I've never really been a fan of how they looked, but one user had a very interesting take on it, and before we go green, I would like to pull it up, but I'm having a hard time getting it pulled up, unfortunately here. We have a minute, so we might as well.
Yep. Yeah, why not?
It's not saving as the proper file type, so I'm going to force it to be by screenshotting it and then saving it.
And I was going to explain, there's been a couple of times that, where folks may have noticed I've just kind of been quiet for a little bit. I am coming off of a nasty chest cold, and every once in a while in the middle of a call here, I find myself gurgling, and I figure I better shut it down.
There you go.
For a minute. So there it is. Oh, look at that. That is kind of weird looking in a cool way.
Yeah, well, they put a Ferrari F40 livery on it with headlights and taillights and everything, so I can't tell if it's motorsports cursed or if that's the best thing I've seen since sliced bread and poutine.
Yeah, that's I love it. Poutine.
All right, let's head back down to the racetrack here and have a look at the weather as well. And, wow, that track temp is pretty toasty, 122 degrees. That might be explaining why it was so slick and slidey. And here's some other great news. Non-points race, Greg. There's no reason necessarily for drivers to have to stick around, but of the 31 entrants that started tonight, we have 29 of them going for the second race.
Well, if we're going to come back and race here next week, why not, right? I mean, you could treat this now as just a fun practice session and, work on your racecraft a little bit, where do I want to be on the last lap if I'm battling for a position here, all those little things. And plus, just driving around Road Atlanta, once you get past that short intake of breath, slight fear moment, it's glorious.
I think
glorious.
There's something to using this as a test session, right? I mean,
absolutely.
It's a non-points race, so you're going to race more aggressively than you otherwise would, but you're also going to try things that you otherwise wouldn't. And I think especially for people at the front like Camden Hibbett and Olivier Piatek, absolutely use this. Try the move that you were thinking about trying but didn't want to lose all the spots about. You might as well.
Yep.
Morgan Burkhardt is going to roll off in this race 15th. So this will be fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you're right. I mean, this is, throw the kitchen sink at something here and, see if that'll work. I think that's an absolutely great idea here. It's going to be interesting to see because right to his left is Caleb Patry. I think he's one row up maybe.
Yep.
And we know Caleb's got speed and just has had a rough season so far. And it'd be nice to see if those two can hook up and sort of power their way to the front together and get Caleb back up where we know he belongs.
I realized why my sound felt so loud. Because it was. On my end at least. I was playing with the build this morning and I cranked up the volume on the other computer and I knew something was up.
Yeah, when all else fails, check the volume.
Yeah, the audio setup for this streaming scenario is pretty complicated, so usually to unbork it, I've got to do 5 things and find the tectonic plates and then fiddle with the
Well, when you were telling me what you were doing to get that audio out to work, and so I could hear it and all that, it was like, holy cow, you went way over and above. So
yeah, I've got it just for reference.
SimTV, man.
Between the two computers, I have a set of cables wrapped in a Velcro cord I call the umbilical. So
there you go. There you go.
Here we go.
Ooh, yeah, I think that's Buttermore that laid back, way back there a little bit. Here we go. And Piatek, a little bit of a nose ahead there, but just that fast. Nicholson looks like he's got, and Nicholson just sudden move to open the radius up. And that was a bit of a surprise. There you see Piatek and Morgan side by side, coming up the hill, still side by side. No openings as of yet, and look at this, side by side, into, through 3, and into the S's here.
I can't believe they did that. The 0-3 of Rice Spudo had 2 tires in the grass on the front straightaway, 4 wide, still side by side on the downhill. How long are they going to do that for? Up until 5, Nicholson clears Piatek, but just and slide behind him and crash.
Yep, Skip Brock, I saw him spear wildly. I think that is Rice Spudo.
And Ehrlich
is done, and Ehrlich.
And opening lap here, let's go back and have a look at what transpired. Well, they were already wide at this point. Let's go back a little further. Contact maybe from Skip Brock.
Right. Ooh. There. Ooh. Nope. I think there was the contact. Somebody got into Ehrlich and speared him into Brock, it looked like.
Yeah, they just kind of got tangled up together and went for a ride, and both of them are going to be down the order. Now up front, 3 drivers. How about Richard Sawicki up here in the 528?
He has just come alive here. And I'm so confused now. I don't know if that's his normal livery, but I like it.
I think it is. I think there are a few.
I do too. I've seen it before.
Caleb Patries is working.
Lunge by Cadet.
And here's Burkhardt. He's 6th. We're not even done with the first lap yet. He's 5th now.
And look who's following him through. That's Court.
Oh, man.
Court following Burkhardt. Talk about a learning experience, and is moving up to Court Schmidt up into 5th at the line. And he said, go Morgan, you're my blocking back.
Oh, Patry.
Now Patry is swinging around the outside and bringing Butler with him.
Yeah, swinging was a way to describe it. He had that rear end thing. He had it hung out like he was towing a trailer there through turn 1.
Yeah, he did.
Deacon
Greenfield is up into the 8th spot right now.
Trying 4 wide. How did they do that? You can't
don't know.
do that. 4 wide at Road Atlanta in the S's is unheard of.
Yep, that's the first time I've ever seen that, even in Dream World. That was nuts. And they pulled it off here, but now we get that little bit of a break with that top 4 easing away just a little bit. Then there's Schmidt with Deacon Greenfield. And last we saw of Deacon when we were checking in on the Zoom, and just enough of a touch there that it speared Sawicki off.
Yeah, I think was there contact here.
It looked like it.
Yeah, well, he was kind of stuck in behind Hibbett. Hibbett got slow. That kind of got PRG sandwiched there between Hibbett and Morgan Burkhardt.
Although, I don't know that it was Burkhardt getting into him. His back end may have been rotating around already.
I think you're right, yeah. Here's Greenfield on Schmidt.
And then they touched, yeah. And I was saying Deacon Greenfield, who's not only gone virtual goggleless, but helmetless here when we were watching him on the Zoom feed, and he is having a really good run. There he is. And he's got Piatek chomping at the bit right behind him, and behind Piatek is Burkhardt.
Burkhardt was actually ahead of this group for that turn 7 incident, but he got kind of dragged back a little ways. We're just 3 laps into 12 here. Good run here through turn 1 for Greenfield. Had to lift.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, engine's bogging down too. As here, Piatek and Burkhardt like hungry wolves behind him.
And right now, and Burkhardt off. Is that going to be another slowdown, or was he forced off?
It doesn't.
Have to see on that.
Well, it doesn't really matter. The system will penalize you either way, unfortunately.
No.
He wasn't far enough off that I think he shortcut the corner, so he might have gotten away with it.
Got away with it. Okay, good, because that was just that was a pure racing incident. How about Court Schmidt running 3rd, keeping Deacon Greenfield behind him and not losing ground to Nicholson and Hibbett?
Yeah, he's doing a great job here, keeping everybody in touch. And this not being a points race has just absolutely mixed up everything.
It has.
And
I love it.
New faces up at the front. And you say, why not do this every week? But it would be significantly more chaotic if this was the case every week. You have to have some order in the court, right?
Exactly. And here comes Hibbett. He got a little bit of a draft. And Court has decided, well, I'm going to defend here, and hopefully Hibbett's going to do the job for me. Nicholson staying right with it, and then look behind them. Morgan Burkhardt to the outside of Deacon Greenfield and gets the pass done before they get to 10A, and attacking right away on Court.
Oh, Court wiggling and wobbling off the front bumper of Burkhardt. It's going to open the door for Greenfield, and then Piatek following him through to the inside at 11.
Yeah, Piatek trying to give him a little bit of a push to make sure here. Deacon now, and look at Burkhardt. Did you see what he did there? He really squeezed the exit and pinched Deacon Greenfield down a little bit. And that, again, I know I talk about it, but when you tighten up your exit like that, whether you do it on purpose or whether you're forced to, it just scrubs momentum. And look at Court Schmidt going for 2nd here. Oh, and he got out wide.
Oof.
Is that going to let Burkhardt come through?
Oh, man, this is just packed in.
It's fabulous.
Oh.
Deacon Greenfield way wide, hangs on to it, loses the spot.
Like riding a bull down the hill there.
It is. And how about it? It's so nice now to see Caleb Patry up into the top 10 of a race, sitting in 8th. That's good. Look at this.
Nicholson
chasing the banking through 6 here.
Or Hibbett, rather. He chased him all the way from one side of the track to the other. Long way around, but Schmidt's going to get a great run here because he's got nothing but help from behind, and now the straightaway again.
There's that little bit. There he goes. And you bet Morgan going to go with him here. And Schmidt, this is, if that nose gets ahead, he'll be second, and there it is. And now he's coming right up on the back of Nicholson, and Burkhardt gives them all a shove, Kyle. And what does Hibbett do here? He's just sitting out there. Now Morgan swings over to try and open up the entry, Kyle.
Yeah, but Hibbett can't do the same because he's got Court Schmidt, but somehow he squeezes through there. That was a very efficient turn for Hibbett, all things considered. And Schmidt back to fourth.
I think Court was a little bit too gentlemanly there, perhaps.
He hasn't really been in the thick of the elbows out in the top three lately, and they definitely don't leave you this, enough space to do your own thing. They will give you a lane and nothing more, as they probably should. Schmidt got hit from behind into turn one. There he goes.
Absolutely fabulous run for our leader. And Greenfield spearing off as well in front of him. He got caught out in it. Yeah. What a shame.
That was actually Greenfield that got in the grass and tagged him.
And then, that pitched him over in front of Patry, didn't it?
Yeah.
What a shame.
And Patry, he has just reset as well. There was a bit more trouble at the top of the hill. All things said and done, we're 8 minutes in, 12 minutes to go, and it's a 6-car breakaway, I think, ish.
Yeah, Butler and Brock are close enough here with 12 minutes to go that.
Oh, look out, Nicholson!
Nicholson gets shoved by Burkhardt and walled. I tell you, there are times there when Morgan isn't exactly making friends, is he?
No. And this is
really
another teammate.
Yeah.
Right there, gets up on the curb and just clears him out there. Man.
That is a shame. Hey, it's some awfully good racing going. So Burkhardt, obviously, you can see the wrinkle in the rear, so maybe he was tired of getting tagged and just overdid it here, but this is what we were talking about now. It's a 5-car battle, but it is covered by the proverbial blanket now.
Yeah, Hibbett, Piatek is back in this run group after kind of getting shuffled at the start. Jordan Butler's here, hello, and his inside, he's got Skip Brock Jr.
Yeah, he got through 10A, 10B. Skip did really, really nicely. And now Piatek swinging way out. Burkhardt sensing that, just chops across the front.
Oh, look at Piatek.
Oh, squaring him up 3 abreast with the exit of 1, Kyle.
That's always
briefly.
Fun. That's a fun place to do it, too, but you kind of run out of road by the time you get to 3. But he was able to clear Hibbett. Little wonky there as they try to get it gathered up, and then that'll open the door for Skip Brock Jr. Yeah, they're chasing the car all over the road.
Yeah, he got far enough out. He was off where there's very little grip up in the clag there and was lucky to hang on to it. But got a little bit better run than Skip out of 5. And you can see he just pulls out a car length, and man, did he need it. And look at Piatek. Just a very decisive attack on Burkhardt.
And through.
And made it. Now we defend. Oh, now see, it's going to be interesting to see whether he gets the run out now. It was an awfully early turn in.
He kind of braked towards the apex.
It was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know I've seen that particular move before. I like it. But right here, he brakes kind of sideways across the track to cover off the spot.
Yep.
Now
and he used a little bit more road on the exit, but he used that curve. It worked well. But see, there's the momentum loss, especially when you got Hibbett helping out here.
Burkhardt defensive, and Hibbett on the right side of the road again. Skip Brock Jr. gets tagged from Jordan Butler, and it's going to be a jam up out of 11 here.
Look at Hibbett, had such a good run into 10A, and then had floated a little bit wide in 10B, and he could end up 5th here, depending upon. I think he'll stay in 4th at this stage, but it just changes that fast.
Oh boy.
Oh, look at this.
Side by side into turn 1, 9 minutes to go. 2 by 2.
Looks like a pace lap at speed.
It does.
This is incredible. So Burkhardt finally grabs that spot. Jordan Butler having another really good run here as well, duking it out with Hibbett here for 4th and 5th.
Look who's returned.
Brock.
Jordan Rick-Segrini out on lap 1 in the first race.
Yes.
From 27th to now 7th. He was out. He didn't make any of this progress. I mean, this twice started 27th in this race.
Yeah. I mean, he was stopped, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. So in 12 minutes, he's gone from P27 up to P7, and I don't think he's done yet. And his car looks spectacular, so he's in a great position to make up some ground here.
Yeah, he's done it really, really cleanly and effectively. And look at this, Piatek has worked his way back around Burkhardt. This is just position swap almost from corner to corner. And all of these changes, we've got that top 5 covered by next to nothing. And then Gene Sohn is not that far back, and Rick Zagrini actually slips by and takes that spot away. Oh, now he's dropping like a brick. What happened?
Yeah, his connection went kind of in and out.
Oh, that's what it was.
And
okay.
just for the background reference, iRacing still isn't super stable. I've heard some people got into some races and then...
Let's move by Hibbett.
Wow.
Sorry. That
Yikes.
was, he read it perfectly that time after getting it wrong the previous lap, and obviously he figured it out when he made, had that run on that previous lap and said, all right, I know what I need to do, just I don't want to finish it that way, and it worked.
Piatek loves seeing this in the rear view. Everybody fighting over second.
You bet.
Yeah,
and right now, Butler trying to help Hibbett as much as he could, but Burkhardt just had position there.
Down the S's here, 7 minutes to go. And pretty much, wow, look at Rick Zagrini and Soto. Couldn't slot a piece of paper between them there down the S's.
And that's so difficult to do there, Kyle. It's so easy to just lose the front there and either spear off the track or spear into your competitor, and they both made it stick. That's just great stuff. Oh,
Soto.
Way wide for Soto. But opened the arc through the corner, but he was already way too wide to make it work, and should cost him a little bit of speed here. Yeah, but that gap now is created.
And that arc was a little too big. I think you could put 2 of every animal on it and sail it across the ocean. Down the back stretch, Piatek and Burkhardt. It's the front 2. Burkhardt's run Piatek back down. I think they like to make it a 2-man race, but I think Hibbett's going to keep him from doing that. Here they go, racing into 10A.
And every time they go side by side like this, you can see the rotation that Piatek had, but Burkhardt just staying with it down to the inside. And, again, position is everything here. And then down through 12, if you can hang on to it around the outside, it can actually almost be like a slingshot. And let's see it. It was Burkhardt at the line, but Piatek now leads. And
whoa, Piatek, evasive action into the wall.
What was that? Oh, my goodness.
He went to go turn in, and there was a car there, and he juked back to the left right there. Oh, that is horrible.
Absolutely.
I mean, just watch his on board here. He's going to turn in, and then, surprise, look out. Bam.
And you are at near terminal velocity right there, aren't you?
Yeah. Game
That's
over.
a shame.
Game over for Piatek. Another one bites the dust, and then there were 7, 8, however many are left in this pack.
God, yeah, it's a huge group. With everything that's been unfolding up front. 10. Top 10 covered by 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, that is, and then 11th is 12 seconds back from that, long ways. So I think Skip Brock Jr. has a very good case to make that he could win this race. I think he'd like to be on his own rather than having Jordan Butler and Rick Zagrini and Soto and a handful of others behind him. But here comes Jordan Rick Zagrini continuing his just quiet and careful progress forward in this 108 car.
Yeah, he is just really, and as you said, almost every other car up in this lead group has a bumper that's deranged, a hood that's bent, and his is, look at that run by Brock. And that's where he had that problem before and lost that spot. So we have 4 minutes to go.
3 laps.
That's what, 3 laps?
Yep, 3 laps left. And anybody can take this now. It's going to come down to, we're hearing that Piatek had wheel issues there, so it turned in and then basically steering rack unwound itself. That's never fun. But again, week 13. Unlucky number.
Unlucky number.
But it's testing week, and that is kind of the risk of that. But
well, you know what I think? I think we should do a 12 race season, and at the 4th and 8th rounds are no points.
There you go. There's an idea.
Now, that would be fun.
Yeah, iRacing's
riding on board here.
iRacing's schedules follow a 12-week schedule typically, so that would actually put us in line with avoiding week 13 as well. That's an interesting thought.
Rick Segrini. Is Burkhardt now trying to make that break? You would think Rick Segrini, his car looks pristine.
Yeah, Skip Rocks isn't in bad condition either.
No, it's not. He's done a really nice job, too. Little wrinkle there, maybe.
Yeah.
But
they're going to close in on Burkhardt before the corner here. Does Rick Segrini go for it? Will he wait another lap or two? He'll wait. And here comes Hibbett.
yep. And did you see Burkhardt overslow a little bit for that corner to try and stop whoever it was behind him a bit? And then went hard to throttle right at turn in and got that little bit of a run. That's some great racecraft.
While there's many different lines you can run through 10A and 10B, it feels like when you're there, it's pretty hard to do any of them without being by yourself. So I think, you can effectively block that, even though the track is 2-3 car widths wide. You can block that by just being there. A little contact there, a little shuffle, and Soto goes for a ride.
Checks up, lets everybody through. Hopefully that will eliminate any issues. Butler a little bit wide there, but gathered it up. But Rick Segrini has cleared Brock, and now he's got a half a second or more to make up to Burkhardt. And he's trying to make this now, if he can get there, a mano-a-mano race. And Hibbett still trying to get back up into this lead duel once again.
Yeah, and he's running out of time, actually. We're coming to the white flag next time back. He's 2 seconds back from the leader. And I don't think a lot of these drivers behind him are going to work very nicely with him because they all want to be in his position. So
absolutely,
I would start to count the drivers that are ahead of Hibbett, and probably those are the ones that will be repeating this. But if Rick Segrini can get to Burkhardt and slow him down, who knows what can happen.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, Hayden Manis is doing a really nice job right now up in that 7th spot in the number 65. He really has put together a nice series of runs. Here it's, as I say that, Andrew Gilliland slices down the inside of the pepperoni car. See what I did there?
That was good. I like that. That was pretty good. I'll give you that. And white flag, last lap around.
Go.
And Rick Segrini is in striking distance. I don't know that anybody else is if Rick Segrini waits until 10A.
This is going to be fascinating to see how this plays out. Up the hill we go. Love riding on board here. This is that little flick through 2. Attack the curb here in 3. Use that exit curb to help straighten you out a little bit. And then down the hill.
He's in a great spot here. No one else for a second and a half. So it's going to come down to these two. And it's all about setting up turn 7 and that run down to 10A. Which side of the track do you choose if you're Burkhardt?
It's so, I mean, it's tough to even strategize it here at this stage. On the one hand, you'd say you'd like the inside heading down into 10A because it gives you more options. A little wiggle there by Rick Segrini, but it was just he really got in the throttle well. So here it is. This is the run now, Kyle, and we are going to see it all play out. But look at Brock, Hibbert, Butler, Janson, they are all battling for the final step on the podium, too. That could be absolutely insane.
May I remind you that Jordan Rick Segrini started this race in 27th, and he's going for the win down here in the last 3 corners. Here we go.
This is incredible. Here it comes. Big defense by Morgan. Swinging out is Rick Segrini. Rick Segrini squares.
Wow.
It's a hell of a run. Man, that was beautiful. He carried great exit speed. He's got to get over to the right and get in front of Burkhardt. He's done it. Now Burkhardt's going to try and open the radius up a little bit. It's the run down the hill, and Rick Segrini gets it done with a brilliant pass. And in the final couple of corners, Hibbett sneaks through on Brock to complete the podium. Wow, that was a move by Jordan Rick Segrini.
27th to 1st. That has to be, if that's not a record in this series, I don't know what is. That was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was just precision driving.
I mean, let's watch this again. This is so cool. Now, he read this to perfection. To the right, Greg, this is what I said.
Yep.
I want to be on the right heading into this corner for this reason. Look at that.
Yeah, left him just enough room so that there, couldn't be a block or anything, but he had so much momentum coming through that he eventually just came across the bow. But the thing that really made that work was he got up enough, he had enough speed, I think, Kyle, that he got alongside of Burkhardt, so Burkhardt couldn't come farther over to open that up. And that just pinches your run through that corner and you lose a little bit of momentum.
That was cool.
That was sweet. And look at the background there, what Hibbett did. He had an absolutely superb move.
Yeah,
he'd practiced every line through 10A, 10B, hadn't he? Hibbett had.
And this is kind of the same move, but takes it to the other side, waits to the exit, and crosses under. This is kind of the move I typically expect.
Yeah.
But Rick Segrini just had so much speed that he was able to carry on around the outside there.
Yeah, and then here he dared Skip Brock to turn in.
Gosh.
And Brock, he had a nice little bit of momentum as he straightened it out. But here at Road Atlanta, by the time that wheel straightened, you're under the flag. So, yeah, from an absolutely chaotic first race for Jordan Rick Segrini, he puts in a beaut here.
Well deserved.
And throwing down some donuts. Yeah,
I didn't even know these could
buddy.
do that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
How fun was that? Wow.
Let's have a look here at the race results. And how about the gap from third to fourth, 54 thousandths of a second between those two.
Just incredible. I mean, look at that. The top 7 covered by 2 seconds, Kyle.
Yeah, really impressive.
Just superb.
Elliot Burton, a relatively new name here. I don't know that we've seen that name before at all. But he is
great job.
Up at the top 10. Then James Newell, Tristan Cadet, the rest of the top 10. Michael Lauren, I thought he had hit pit lane at one point. Maybe that was the other race. He did not pit this race. Hayden Manis ended up dropping down to 15th. Wayne Buttermore, Richard Sawicki. Yeah, Sawicki had such a good race going too. He ended up down in 18th spot, Craig.
Well, and then speaking of having a good race going and having it all go pear shaped, was Court Schmidt.
Yeah,
duking it out for literally the lead. Battling with the top 3 in the top 3, and it just went wrong for him there. So that's a real shame. But some great stuff out there. So, wow. These non-points races, they do have a certain appeal, don't they?
They sure do. And one of the drivers that didn't get to the finish line in this one, but did win the first race, was Olivier Piatek. And, obviously the non-point situation means that the 23rd in the most recent race doesn't hurt so bad. But, hey, a race win in race 1, and you got it done in a pretty spectacular method, holding off a hard-charging group. Olivia, take us through your night tonight. Pretty fun out there to watch. How was it to drive?
Yeah, no, we came into this racing, it was a points race, and then we all got told it wasn't last minute, so we all just decided to have a big scrap and just have some fun, so that's what we did. Race 1, just a lot of fun battling side by side with the S's a couple times, just a really fun race, and got enough of a gap on the backstretch lap to just win the race. Not too much pressure with Camden. And then, race 2, side by side with Nathan up the S is really fun, and then coming to the top of it on lap 1, my wheel disconnected for a second, and then reconnected in a terrible spot. So if you look at the replay, I'm dead sideways trying to save that thing. Thankfully, I saved it and no one hit me. Dropped down to like 15th, and I just got my way up, started recovering, got to the front, and then the second I got to the front, it happened again, but instead of turning on the straightaway, it turned to the left in a right-hand corner, shipped me straight in the wall. Nothing could really done there, but it happens.
It's a shame. Yeah, I mean, after that incredible first race you drove, and it was so fun to watch the dueling. And what I loved about this being a non-points race is you guys said, you said just a scrap. On one level, strategy was out the window. There was no gamesmanship. It was just go for it, have fun. And it was such a great race, but you still had to play it right in those last couple of laps, and that was fun.
Yeah, no, it was a lot more high racing, to be honest, because no one's worried about if they wreck, nothing really happens, so we were all kind of potting each other, a little bit of contact there, but it all remained really clean and really fun.
Yeah, it was absolutely great to call. And Kyle and I were joking that we need to do a 12-race season and have the 4th and 8th races be non-points races just for fun.
Non-points, some money would make it fun.
There you go. There you go. Let's do that.
I'm in.
Yeah.
If the money race, trust me, you'll be even more.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, look at that. I mean, what a fabulous race it was, Olivier. Great job. And I know with the win, you now wish, darn, that'd be great to have gotten the points for it, but still, absolutely a joy to call.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, good. It was for us, too.
We'll see you next time, Olivier. Thanks a lot.
See you.
And let's talk with who's up next. Let's talk Camden Hibbett, who brings his car home in 3rd in race number 2 and 3rd in race number 1. Camden, tonight, not wins on the horizon, but man, you did a great job slicing and dicing. There's some dents and bumps on the car to prove it. Fun night, and without the points really being a factor, I'm sure you learned some things for next week.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I needed this one to count, honestly, because Morgan and Nick both getting wrecked out of race 1 actually would have helped me a ton in the points. But no, amazing racing tonight. It was really fun. A lot of us in the PRG call were just said once we heard the news that it wasn't going to count for points, it was just, okay, let's go have fun and put on a show for the broadcast. And yeah, definitely a lot of fun. Definitely some dents and scrapes, and the car was a little bit of a mess at the end of both races, but it was some amazing racing.
It looked to me like you were really exploring different lines through 10A and 10B, trying to think about, okay, if I'm in traffic, what works? If I'm by myself, that's an easy one. It looked like you were really exploring some options down there.
Yeah, it was there. I made a couple moves on Morgan on the driver's left going into 10A, and it didn't work. And I made the mistake of doing it again, and it didn't work again. I just didn't learn from it the first time. I think that's what ultimately cost me a chance for the win in race 2. But it was definitely part of that was just learning for next week when it counts.
Sure.
Because it's so tight, and there was a lot of, I won't say. There were some stupid moves being made tonight that probably won't happen next week, and we're going to have a ton of really fast people back next week for when it counts, and it's going to be closer than ever. And you have to know what move's going to work and what's not going to work.
Yep.
Because what I did twice tonight would probably put me definitely outside the top 5 next week when people are driving with their heads screwed on a little bit tighter.
Well, but like you said, obviously, it's an opportunity to try those things and to say, okay, that's not going to work in that scenario, might work in a different one. But I'll tell you, the moment for me that just kind of, showed what this evening was all about. In the first race, at one point, you had come into, it was the 3 of you battling for the lead, and you had come into 10A, 10B in the lead, and you ended up a little wide, exiting 11 and coming down the hill. And by the time you got to the line, you were in second. But we had an onboard shot of you, and that grin literally went ear to ear. And I said to Kyle, I went, they are having so much fun out there right now. And we could feel it through the driving, and it was so fun to call. Thank you guys for that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun tonight because we knew it didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And there's not a lot of races anymore where either iRating's not on the line, there's not points championships on the line, so this was a really good opportunity to just go out and have some fun. And hopefully we put on a good show for you guys at home, and it was definitely a lot of fun tonight. Can't wait for the real thing next week.
Yeah, you did. Trust me, you put on a great show for us. Thanks for that. And we're looking forward to next week, too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
And let's see. We've got, of the drivers left, we've got Jordan Rick-Segrini to join us. Man, what a move, Jordan. That was so cool. Your race ended in race 1 very early, but race 2, 27th to 1st, and you led for like 250 feet. What an epic battle. Take me through that last pass on Morgan in those last couple corners, because that was art.
Coming out of I knew he was going to try something crafty, once you get up to some racecraft and race experience, you got to figure out something, and he was in the lead and knowing the draft down the back straight, and he checked me up, turned onto the back straight and got a big bump from me, and I was a little bit worried I was going to be too far away, to be honest, but I think he might have had, it looked like not bad damage, but enough where the arrow was a little messed up, and was able to reel him back in down that long back straight. And I cheated him over to the left, and on the old tires, I knew it would be hard to get stopped. And most people tried to cut back on the second switchback, but I knew Morgan would see that one come inside and try something else. So as soon as he went deep into that 10A, I went under him and just had to be very careful on the gas to not push off the track in B section, and then had to run around the outside and in third gear to make it to the line first.
You read it to perfection, and what I loved was what you were just describing, because that caught my eye, was that you were able to get that overlap to his right, because he is well known for swinging, at the last second, arcing way out if he thinks he's got, the room. And you were enough alongside where he was pinned a little bit, and he had to, overslow more than he would have. And I mean, you just squared up. I think Kyle described it perfectly. That was art. That wasn't just racing. That was art. Well done, man.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
What a show. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jordan. And Greg, wow. Road Atlanta never fails to put on a great show, but we didn't really get the show that I thought we were going to get tonight because we didn't have the points on the line. What we did get in response is a little bit of a preview of what the last lap of next week will look like.
Well, exactly. And what was fun was we got that preview lap after lap after lap, because there weren't points on the line, so they were just racing, as they said, every corner, every lap, just going for the lead, trying stuff, and seeing the different approaches going in, coming out of corners, squaring underneath. That's all stuff that, believe me, they're going to put into the old data hard drive here, right? And that's going to come back to the fore next week when the points are on the line. And just watching the racecraft of these guys, you recognize all over again, and we know it, but we just recognize it all over again, Kyle, just how good they are.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun blast next week and for the season finale at VIR, but Jordan's still sitting on the racetrack doing burnouts, or was doing burnouts a moment ago. Greg, we'll sign off now.
Absolutely.
What a great night it was, but we still have a long way to go. I get to go play with the rain now. I'm very excited about that.
All right. Well, yeah, we're jealous of that. Have fun. Again, a huge thank you, of course, to Full Send Sims. And Court Schmidt, man, battling for the lead in this one until he got clouded and taken out. So it's great to see that. And we love it. Also, as always, just a massive thank you to our other sponsors. Final Turn Motorsports has been with us since day one. Rob Greenwood has been such a great supporter of this. And 3P Logistics and Frank Rodriguez, same thing, just absolutely stellar. And of course, Wine Country Motorsports, coming along as well and being a stellar supporter as well. So we get an extended season. We'll be back, as we understand it, next week, back here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta for the points event, and then the season finale 2 weeks away at VIR. We'll update you on what's going to happen with the school and if anything changes. And of course, just always be checking things out on Discord as well. For Kyle Heyer and for our absolutely phenomenal camera dude, Finian DeCuna, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks so much for joining us here. We'll see you next week right back here at this glorious racetrack.